Most entrepreneurs think that commanding authority means being the loudest voice in the room, over explaining their decisions, or constantly talking over their team. But if you are running a high revenue company, frantic over talking is a dead giveaway of deep operational insecurity and a desperate need for approval. True executive presence doesn't shout, it is completely silent, grounded, and intensely magnetic. Look, I'm Brooke Plack, a multi-seven-figure operator who's built an empire through the trenches with raw, real, hard-earned experience. I don't give fluff. I don't give charisma tricks. I give tried and true advice about what it takes to go from where you are and where you want to be. And the reason that my teams and our companies are running smoothly, not flawless, but smoothly without much friction, and I get to work a focused 25 hours a week is because I stopped letting reactive anxiety dictate my energy and implemented an internal system called the Presence Playbook. The Presence Playbook. I got tongue-tied on that one. Today, I'm breaking down the exact somatic and psychological shifts required that I did that you've got to do to command any room without saying a single word. And it's so powerful. So stay till the very end because I'm going to share the silence threshold, the one boundary trick that forces difficult clients and team members into instantly respecting your authority. All right, let's get into it. So for established entrepreneurs who maybe are running companies, let's say like 200 to 5 million, right? A year, you feel exhausted by constantly needing to like push or convince or force your team to execute tasks. Well, here's the deal. Loudness is weak. Nobody wants anyone this day and age yelling at them. Nobody wants someone breathing down their neck, but stillness is powerful. And we're going to have conflict and we're going to have hard conversations. And there are going to be times where we have to tackle things that we didn't really sign up for, right? But when you over explain your strategies, you are subconsciously asking your team and your people for permission to leave. And so there are some basic pillars of how you can command a room without saying a word. All right. The first one is spatial control and somatic grounding. Okay. And this is not woo-woo. This is real. All right. So you can use your physical posture, all right, to broadcast absolute certainty. High achievers often carry tension in their shoulders and they're like very rigid and they're fast twitch movements and they're, always fidgeting with something, which signals reactive anxiety. But if you slow down your physical movements, lower your shoulders, okay, take a breath, 20% less body movements, okay, and anchor your feet to the ground. You mastering the art of unblinking eye contact, so actually being able to look at someone and not look away, that forces the nervous system of everyone else in the room to regulate to your calm frequency. Frequency is real. It can be measured on sound meters. Like it is a real thing. But if you're up here and you're buzzing and everyone else is going to be too. So if you need to bring that down, you can do that. Ground those feet, drop those shoulders, slow down by 20%. I'm someone that talks very fast. I get very excited. I'm very high energy, but slow down. Doesn't all have to be so fast. And your team, your people will do the same thing. Okay. And if you find yourself like, I want to be the best leader possible and I want to continue to grow, but maybe you don't have a growth community around you, or maybe you don't have other leaders in your corner, then subscribe to the show and follow us because we drop episodes multiple times a week, usually twice a week. And it's our whole mission here is to help us all grow together and to get better, because I know people invested in me in the early years of my journey, 12 years, when I started 12 years ago. And that is what we're doing here, is paying it forward. Okay. The second pillar is subconscious boundary setting and the power of the pause, or the power pause, however you want to say it. So you will have interruptions. We are going to have, pushback from team members, scopes of projects are going to change, but you have to be able to do that without getting defensive. So when someone presents a crisis or interrupts you, don't speak instantly. Hold a deliberate, natural 3-second pause while maintaining soft eye contact. And this silent gap completely changes the power dynamics. If you're constantly talking and then you pause, the whole room will turn and look at you. And it forces the other person or other people to reflect on what they just said. and instantly positions you as the anchor of the room, not the person talking the loudest. So being able to pause and not say the first thing coming to your brain, it's powerful and it shifts the energy and the frequency in the room. Try it. You will come back, leave a comment, and let us know, because I know how powerful it is. All right. The third pillar is being neutral in your emotional responses. And I'm going to tell you what, this is the hardest one for me, like to master, or it definitely was in my earlier years in my 30s, because everything was a big deal because I wanted everything to be perfect. So if you are in the position of allowing like a financial swing or an operational fire to visibly shatter you, like emotionally or emotional composure in front of your workforce, like that is where this slowing down, taking time, and deploying the Presence Playbook is huge. A multi-seven-figure CEO treats operational errors as data, objective data, not a personal attack. It's not a personal failure on you because something you didn't go as you had planned, because that plan was a projection. It isn't fortune telling, right? We're not forecasting something that is absolutely certain. So your team mirrors your emotional baseline. And if you remain unshakable and analytical and look at it from an objective standpoint, they will too. And they'll stop panicking. And here's what happens. When your team stops panicking, they start problem solving. And that's what you want, is all of those minds together in pursuit of the same mission. And now you guys are working together to solve the problem instead of everyone panicking. All right. And if you're running a successful company, but you feel isolated and you're alone, sign up for our weekly newsletter that we're launching this year, because it will be a weekly dose of goodness and inspiration and real talk into your inbox every week. All right. So the last thing I told you to stay from the very beginning of the episode for this is the silence threshold and overcoming the need to over-explain. Okay. I am an over-explainer. Here I am teaching and coaching and like over-explain by nature, but not every situation warrants that, because the reason that we talk too much is because we have a need to be liked and validated. We don't want to leave the room without someone knowing that we knew something too, that we mattered, that we had a voice, that we were intelligent, right? But over talking is a psychological shield used to protect against the fear or conflict of judgment. So you don't want to be, or we don't want to be, right, inaccurately judged or perceived. So we continue to talk, and tell more. But true leadership growth requires you to build an internal security to let your silence do the heavy lifting. Okay, because it's not about how you feel. It's about what is needed, what kind of contributions actually needed in the room or needed in the conversation. So the person who speaks next always loses, right? So if you state a boundary or a price point or an operational standard, stop talking. Someone else will speak first. I promise you 100% of the time, someone else will speak first. Let that silence sit, because commanding the space is being completely at peace with the stillness. And so many people are not. True authority is never taken by shouting over the noise. Know that. It's never taken by shouting over the noise. Winning a yelling match never won anything. It's given by the leader who possesses the internal stability to command the stillness, to sit in the uncomfortable. So stop trying to control your operations through relentless talking. Drop that busy badge and start building an unshakable presence, an unshakable leadership presence that allows your business to respect your scale.